Associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, as well as YouTube, and occasionally, maybe, possibly Facebook. We might be getting Facebook
might be
back.
Giving it back. Yes.
Thanks to the Nashua Police Department.
Oh my gosh, we love them.
We absolutely love it. And he's going to actually come on and give us a little bit of digital safety tips that they actually went into a Nashua school, which is how I found out about them, talking about digital and internet safety. We reached out. He said, yes. You know, what's happening on your Facebook page where they're trying to sell Bitcoin and mortgages and your likeness is fraud.
I haven't even checked to see if they've taken it down yet.
Yeah, I haven't either, but this is all very exciting. So maybe we'll get back up on Facebook shortly.
When I was looking at...
But we're always on Spotify.
Well, last year when I was looking into it and I was trying to find stuff on the internet, there's I forgot the thousands of people a day that get hacked.
Yeah.
And not just on it, but it's so easy to steal information.
Right.
Your content, pictures, like whatever you put out there, it's out there.
Yeah. Now, other countries are going through making laws saying you own your likeness. So no one can take your picture and use it for their gain without paying you or your permission. So other countries, and remember we were talking about that when back in the day, old school, if you took a photograph of someone and you wanted to put it in the paper, you had to get a release from them if they were in the background of the picture. Like, so if you had a picture of the beach and there was like someone walking their dog and they were someone identifiable, you had to get their permission before you could submit that picture. Now we're in everyone's pictures everywhere. Because everyone's
how many pictures do you think that you're in? Actually,
all of them.
Other people
feel like, hey,
unintentionally,
and sometimes intentionally.
Yeah, that is true. Photobomb.
Sometimes little photobombs. And then I feel like we're really in fall. We are falling.
Oh my goodness,
we are falling. We hiked up at Mount Major. It was pretty.
Where's Mount Major?
It is the lakes.
Lakes region.
So when you get to the top, it's one of the 52 with a view. When you get to the top, you can see all of Lake Winnipesaukee.
Wow.
So very pretty, not very strenuous. We did it with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Oh.
So it's doable.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, it's super fun. We should go.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I actually feel like if you look at the leaves in our yard, I feel like a lot more are falling than we actually are having that foliage. I looked back last year on some of the reels that I made about fall, and the trees in our front yard are just so vibrant, and I have more on the ground than I actually do on the trees. And I'm like, well, we haven't had a lot of rain this year.
Yes.
So I don't know what the perfect environment is for great foliage. I think cool, crisp nights, the temperature, like sunny days, like warm days,
and it has to
cool
be
nights.
Not a lot of wind, because wind will blow the leaves off too.
Yeah,
I think. And did you always like fall, or did you not like fall because you went back to school?
Well, I always liked fall. I mean, growing up in Virginia, I feel like your seasons are a little bit longer. Winter is shorter for sure. But I love that smell of the leaves and the grass, and I love the smell of autumn, and it's just something about making you feel cozy. And I still don't do pumpkin spice. Never did. Probably never will. But I liked that. I love fall. Did you?
Yeah, and I liked going back to school. I mean, although I missed the summer, I was definitely a summer preferred girl. As an only child, a lot of my friends went camping or did various things, so it was like also getting back into the swing of seeing my friends more and doing fall sports. Volleyball was a fall sport.
Yeah, I never liked going back to school. The only thing about going back to school was clothes
I liked
shopping.
School. Yeah. I know. I was good at school, so it was like I like doing things I'm good at. I don't like doing things I'm bad at. So I was good at school, so I liked it.
I get that.
And I had a uniform, so I didn't really get to do overly exciting school shopping, clothing shopping. But you did.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do a ton of it, but I always, and I even didn't, I didn't like when my kids had to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
because then you have to do their homework and you have to get them ready.
And then you have sports and it's just like rush. You know, it's like your whole dinner schedule changes, you know, bedtime routine changes, like everything. And just, I mean, you did like the time, you know, that they're out of the house and you have your, like, a free time. But I don't know. I enjoyed my kids. I think because I was a big kid myself, like, we always did stuff, you know, hiking, camping, you know, not camping. We did camp in the backyard a few times.
I was like, you don't imagine. I'm not visioning you
going to the beach. We have we actually cut a piece of the yard out one time at this house we were renting, like made sod out of it so we could do a fire in the in the yard. We had the tent up. We had tiki torches around, and we slept out there.
Yeah.
Even the dog.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking for a second, I don't see you as a camper. I see you as a hoteler.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a hoteler. Sure. I'm not judging because I'm a hoteler.
I would do a camper.
Yes, of course, because it's inside.
Camper. Yes.
It's still inside. There's a bathroom and a kitchen.
But when I first moved up here, my husband and I used to do camping almost every weekend. We'd either go to the coast.
In a camper?
No, in a tent.
In a tent?
Yes. We had all the EMS gear, everything.
So you can pop a tent?
Yes. I still have my 6-man tent.
That's interesting.
And we would do, you know, a blow-up mattress and, you know, I've had a pad underneath it. So it was like...
Glamping.
You know, tent glamping for sure. But I had, like, the little string lights that you would put out and tiki torches. And so it was very cozy. It's just... No matter what the conditions are, the temperature is, it's always damp in the morning when you wake up inside the tent. You always feel like you're
clammy.
Yes, that's a good word for it. Ugh. But yeah, I did that for a long time. We would either go over to the coast or the White Mountains and hike, and you come back and, you know, you make some good food. Like we had the little stove and you know all the gear. I don't even know where that stuff is now. But.
So did your kids go with you too, or did you stop by the time you had kids?
We stopped before the time we had kids.
Yeah.
That's why I did it in the backyard.
Yes.
They should go camping.
Okay.
But I don't want to, you know, I don't want to drive 2 hours, set it all up, and I'm like, if I need to, we can just go inside.
Right. If it really gets, if we're down in the weeds, we can just go back inside the house.
Right. If you get hungry, need a snack, you know, you get scared.
You really want to go to the bathroom.
Yes. I don't want to squat. Right.
I love it. Yeah. It's really funny. When I did the 29 event, they had glamping and they had the tents. I had to do nothing. I just showed up. And they had the tents, and they actually even had cots that lifted us off the ground. Oh. So this was barely camping, right? Barely. And I'm in there, and I'm looking at the girl that I just met, Grace. And she looks at me, and I can tell by her eyelash extensions that this is not her scene either. And she says to me, "Do you want to get a hotel?" And I was like, "I would love a hotel." And so she starts going online trying to see if she can get a hotel, because we both like don't even have our stuff unpacked. We're like, this isn't kind of our scene.
Right.
You know? So because it was Stratton Mountain in October when everyone's at the height of leaf peeping, there was no hotel for us to go to.
Oh.
So we just had to suck it up. And she said, next time in advance, we're going to get a hotel.
Yes.
I said, agreed. 100% agreed.
How was sleeping on a cot?
There was barely any sleeping. Maybe there was like 4 hours one night and 4 hours another night, because you're exercising the whole time. So because you're so exhausted from how much physical exertion you're doing, you're sleeping anyways. Yeah. But you know, it was unbelievably windy, and it's just not our scene. But they had beautiful tents. Like, I have pictures of them. Beautiful tents.
Like canvas tents?
Yes,
like
canvas with the sides that were tall. You could almost, I could stand in the middle of it.
Wow.
I mean, so when I say that this was barely camping.
Did it still have the dirt floor? Did
yes.
it have like...
Yeah, it did have the dirt floor.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was just funny because I looked at her and she looked at me and we were like, I don't know you, but you want to get out of here?
Did you guys make your own food too? Or was it?
No, they did provide, there was like a cafeteria inside where you could get food.
Oh.
And then because they had these cup of soups, because they were trying to keep your electrolytes up.
Yep.
So they were always like, some volunteer was always like trying to give you cup of soup or trying to give you water or electrolytes. They had these people with trays that would have peanut butter filled pretzels or stuff to try to keep your
Right.
energy up so you didn't have to stop and eat, but they did have food like in a cafeteria.
Oh.
No, it was fantastic, and only myself and Grace would complain about the tents.
Peanut butter and pretzels. That sounds like a bad I hate peanut butter and I don't like pretzels.
Yeah, so then you wouldn't like it, but I really liked it. They had an almond butter one with pretzels that I really liked.
Oh,
And I was like,
butter
I don't
maybe.
need to like more snacks. I don't
But
need to like
pretzels
more
are like
snacks.
so dry. It's just dry
They
bread.
are. I know.
And then you have like dry peanut butter tastes dry to me.
And you know what's really funny?
So-
When we were growing up, pretzel was considered like the healthier chip. So we all suffered with pretzels. We should have just ate chips.
Right.
It's the same amount of calories. I don't know
Yes.
what we were thinking we were saving. And the same thing with the rice cake movement. Why were we eating rice cakes?
I don't know. I do like the little rice cakes. I like the cheddar cheese ones. I
Mhm.
actually have some like jalapeno cheddar. They're not bad. But like just sometimes it's I like the texture.
You like the airiness?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like crisp and I feel like it's not as bad as a chip, but I don't really know.
Yeah, I think
so.
we should just.
I still think it's like, if you look at rice cakes versus the little ones versus chips, it's still like 150 calories for 15.
Right. So that's why I'm thinking, like, why am I not just enjoying the chip? Because I won't stop at 15, maybe? Pretzels
Pretzels have no flavor. It's just
I don't mind it. I liked the ones with the peanut butter inside and the almond butter inside.
Oh.
It gave them
Yeah.
something. And again, it's funny how I ate pretzels thinking that they were better for me when they were no better for me. And the minute you're like, they're not better, I'm like, all right, then I'm going to eat the crap I want to eat. If I'm eating crap, I'll eat crap that I enjoy.
That's kind of how I feel every day.
Yeah, yesterday I haven't had Five Guys since you and I rollerbladed with Five Guys.
Wow.
Right? That's a long time. It was 117 a minimum of 117 days that I hadn't had Five Guys. And I wanted a burger so bad. So bad. And I didn't want a $25 burger at Burton's or anything. I'm like, I want a Five Guys burger. So yesterday I had burger and real French fries. It was fantastic. And you know what I was thinking? It's like, well, technically that's not approved food. It's not healthy in any way.
Right.
It doesn't provide fiber
It's just
or
good comfort.
macronutrients or micronutrients. And then you think, okay, well, all right, so you had it, you craved it, you enjoyed it, no big deal. You don't have to go and eat cookies after.
Right.
You don't have to really sabotage the whole thing just
Get the
because you made
shake.
one.
They do make,
They make a really good shake.
They do make good shakes. I'm not a big on vanilla. Like I like vanilla ice cream with certain things, but I would never go get a vanilla shake.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris got like a little small vanilla shake, and I'm like, they actually do it right.
Yeah, because they're using, just like when you get pina coladas at a hotel and they're using that Island Oasis machine, and there's some kind of gum glutamate.
Yeah.
Something in you and I can't make that at our
No,
house.
it's creamy. Even if you do like the coconut cream, the thick cream,
it disintegrates too quickly.
yeah, it still doesn't. It doesn't have the same flavor.
Right, because I think it's all the preservatives they put
Yeah.
in and all the emulsifiers. That's the word I was looking for, emulsifiers. But it's all
All the bad
emulsifier,
stuff.
and it's delicious.
It is. My favorite is when they do like a Miami Vice. It's the pina
Yes.
colada in the strawberry daiquiri.
Yes.
Oof.
That was my 50th birthday. That was the drink of choice, was Miami
Yes.
Vices.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Good.
At a beach
Yes.
with a book.
And it's so sugary.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't need any more. But you're like, oh, that tastes so good. I'll have
Right.
a
I'll have
little
one
bit
more.
Yeah.
Right. In a couple hours, I'll have
Yeah.
another.
I
Because you're hot, so it's also
and
cool.
I don't even think there's any alcohol in it.
No, there is, but there's barely.
It is, but it's just,
It's more sugar than alcohol.
yes. And who cares about that? Because I just feel like, oh, that's just like a treat.
Yeah.
I love pineapple and coconut. Those are my favorite. And strawberries. That is so yummy.
Yeah, that is really, really yummy. So yeah, I did not get the shake, but we talked about last week about Sober October and trying again, and it's no big deal if you don't get it the first round and all of that. And because I spoke and used the word sabotage, all of my algorithms then proceeded to give me videos about self-sabotaging. And I'm like, oh, we could kind of talk about that because
Yeah.
we talked about the fact that other people may accidentally sabotage ourselves, but are we sabotaging ourselves?
Yeah, when you asked me the other day, and I was like, I don't really self-sabotage because I'm kind of like a Hitler to myself. But then I was like, wow, I actually do. I actually do more than, and I wrote down a couple of things where,
Like the first thing I think of is the diet.
yes,
Like if you're trying to do or even just keeping up with your health and exercise. So around that wheelhouse of I'm taking care of myself, my body's a temple. And I'm just going to give my temple Doritos this week.
well, so one of the things that when we get into it, like, self-sabotage, it's actually rooted in fear.
Really?
Yeah, like, so I was just, when I was reading and I was looking at it, and it just says, it's usually stems from low self-esteem, childhood trauma, or neglect. It comes from fear of failure and fear of success, fear of the unknown, not wanting to, we set ourselves up. And sometimes I create unrealistic expectations. And so that is self-sabotaging.
Because you'll never live up to your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
so,
is
are you
perfectionism a self-sabotage?
Yes. Yes. Actually, so we did.
So you can't do anything until it's perfect, so you never do it at all because it won't be perfect?
So it's a behavior. So when I was looking it up, it says behavior that interferes with your goals. Overcommitment, imposter syndrome, procrastination, and perfectionism. It's like always holding this tight line. Or you set, you're ignoring boundaries, or you allow your boundaries to be violated.
You know what's really interesting about boundaries that I don't think anybody talks about?
What? That they're always adjustable?
That you can make a boundary, but you're making a boundary for something that's obviously boundaryless.
Like, what do you mean?
So you and I get into it, like we're family and we have this long history that every time I come over your house, we're going to argue about politics, for example.
Yeah.
Right? And it ruins the night. Right? Because
That's
you're going to do your thing and so I say, I'm not going to come over this Thanksgiving because I just don't really feel like fighting about it. We're always like this knockdown, drag out thing.
But see, I think some people like that.
They do. Some people do like a good argument, but I don't. So I say, I'm going to put up a boundary that I'm only coming over if we don't talk about politics. Well, I'm putting it up with someone who likes to fight about politics.
Right.
Right? So it's like, aren't I setting us up to fail a little bit with this boundary?
Well, if they can hold the line, I think it's putting your desire out there to say, hey, I want peace more than, having a good time with you. Let's avoid these
Minefields.
Yes. Let's avoid these traps. If they agree to it, but I don't think it's unrealistic or unreasonable to set that boundary. That's where I feel like that's where you could talk about self-sabotaging, when you are allowing that to be violated. Like, okay, well, if they make the agreement.
Right. And now it's Thanksgiving and it's the middle of your like one fork into the turkey and they start, did you hear what happened? Whatever. And then they start getting into it. Are you supposed to protect your boundary? Are you supposed to get up and walk away from the table?
Or you could just say, you could start out saying, hey, we agreed no politics.
Right.
At least at the table. We'll take it to the backyard.
Right.
And whoever wants to go out there, go out there.
Right.
I don't know.
So
But
that's what I mean about the boundaries. I just think, I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe that's from a boundaryless person. Maybe it's what maybe there's people like, no, don't go to Thanksgiving in the first place,
True.
That,
If you know what's going to happen, then, you can't avoid it. Then I would probably be like, no, if it's that important to me, if it's that important to me, then I wouldn't go.
Right.
Because it's really not about the politics. It's the energy that conversation creates. It stirs up it stirs up things inside of us that get us agitated. And the next thing you know, it's heated and everybody, like, why? So I think that's the reason why you'd put up a boundary, is because you don't want to go into that kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like thinking about the Thanksgiving table, aren't the people like, we'll talk about whatever we want to talk about. We don't only have to talk about things we agree about.
Yes.
Right? So like,
Yes.
are we only just having yes and then yes conversations?
Oh my gosh, isn't this weather great?
Yes. Like, yeah, I only get to do improv where I get to say yes. Right? That's not a thing either. So is it, and of course you're going to have differences of opinion. Of course you're free to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of like an interesting, funny.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I actually have somebody that when they
And someone just told me that
people.
Someone just told me that around her kids you can't talk about politics, and her boyfriend talks about politics, and she's like, we had the conversation, like they won't invite us next time. Like you can't like nix it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't agree about politics and we're not allowed to talk about it. That was the agreement for me coming over here.
Right.
And you're breaking it. So she's mad at him because she made a promise to them,
right,
that she wouldn't.
Well, he's like, well, I didn't promise anything.
Right. And he's like, what are we going to talk about? I watch the news all day.
Water temperature? I don't know.
What are we talking about? But what were you going to say?
Stingrays. Ocean life, exploring, hiking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say, there's I feel like I have an avoidant personality. I have an avoidant nature in me. Like, but I also I'm a number 9. So I'm a peacekeeper or peacemaker. Like I want to be in flow and I want harmony. And so I avoid, and I've been finding like when I communicate with these certain people, like, hey, just how was your day? Been thinking about you. Just want to know, just touch base and bring some positive. And then you get like, 3 finger scrolls down full of just
everything that's wrong.
Yes. And I'm like, oh. And then like, did you see the news? Did you do this? Did you do this? And blah, 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 blah. So I just like, I can't do that. I can't do it. And I'm like, then I just stop talking. And then I feel like now my vibration is lowered. I'm like, well, that kind of was. So yeah, I would be the one to be like, yeah, I'm not going.
Right. So how do you, as a 9 avoidant, how do you interact? Just always removing yourself is that actually solving anything?
I feel like I tolerate it until I don't.
Yeah.
I'm really good about, in the way I see it in my brain, it's like if my energy is, I'm like, think about taking like a volleyball and you push it underwater and you're holding it down. And so like you're suppressing that energy, you're suppressing those feelings. Well, eventually that ball is going to come up if you let loose and it just skyrockets.
And it ricochets and you're like, what's happening?
It comes out when, all the water is splashing and it's like, it's like a little mini eruption, volcanic eruption with my volleyball. And some people are like, wow, where'd that come from?
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I've been holding on to that for a minute.
Yeah.
And so I think
then it's not proportional probably to the particular thing at hand because it's a buildup of 6 weeks worth of somethings that may or not be pertinent.
It's not with everybody. It's with certain people, I think, that you feel like that you can't. So usually how I will try to say it, I will say something gently. And I will say something, hey, I'm struggling with this, or this bothers me, this upsets me, or I'll just kind of.
So you're good about your expectations.
No,
you're
I
good.
don't.
Okay.
I don't like that. Or I'll say, I don't like that, or that makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel like looking back, those are gentle things. If someone were actually listening to being like, her trigger's getting tripped, or me just saying, I would prefer not to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that right now, or I get really quiet. That's probably not fair for the other person if I just get really quiet. But it is kind of one of my indicators. If I stop.
If you withdraw.
Yeah. If I stop having dialogue and I am not making eye contact. That's a good way of just being like, hey, now's not the time. Or I'll try to change the subject. There's a gentle nudge. And sometimes it gets let go, but other times. So I feel like I do those a lot. And maybe I should be better about communicating. That's maybe I can. Because that's kind of part self-sabotaging too. I'm not. I don't feel like maybe I speak firmly or directly enough. Maybe I'm more indirect.
Are you trying not to hurt people's feelings?
Yes. Yeah. But sometimes, we all have the narrator in our head.
Yes.
She's funny.
She is so funny.
She's witty.
I love her.
And so I'm like, oh, how do I say that a different way?
Right.
So right. But what about you?
It's interesting because I listened to this podcast with this guy who's a therapist who said that everything we have about relationships is wrong because we don't talk about our attachment styles. So all of our fights are because we have whatever attachment style. And I couldn't pick what attachment style I was. Was I anxious or was I avoidant? Right? Because like of the bad attachment styles, there's good attachment styles, but I'm like, of these bad ones, which one am I? So the whole thing, I'm like, I don't know how this pertains to me because I don't know which one I am. And I'm not taking the quiz. I'm not taking a 35-minute quiz, right, to see which I am. Because again, that probably, I felt like I was a little bit anxious and a little bit avoidant. Like so I couldn't pick. And so at the end of it, he says, and if a fight, you go mute, like you just stop talking in a fight, you actually have a sub-attachment style called anxious avoidant. I'm like, both of them. Okay, that makes total sense. You're like, there I am, right there, right there. That makes total sense. But I do think when I look back to, like, things that happened with my birth family, and I always kind of go back to that because I feel like a lot of that's been solved and it's so old, that part of I didn't like fighting because I felt like I lost. I felt like I never was really heard in the fights. And that's why I would write down my feelings a lot because they would get me on they would say something that wasn't what I meant. You're taking what I'm saying out of context. And then they would run with the out of context thing. And I'd be like, no, that's not the thing I'm even talking about. How am I not clear? Yeah. Right. And I don't feel like a moron. Well, I'm like, are you willfully misunderstanding?
So I think they're attaching to something. And I feel like that's when you get into like an argument or a debate. People will pick up on a word. Yeah. And then go down that trail. And then it's like you're going back and trying to explain, hey, I didn't mean that.
And it's like a lawyer where it's like, no, well, let's look at the transcript and you're in a fight for your life.
Well, I am a little bit like that. Yeah. Just because I feel like I've been put in a position so many times and just being a kid and not feeling like you have a voice. Yeah. That, you're always supposed to just listen to your parents or listen to adult figures, and having this strong thought in your mind, like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right to me. And being unheard. So I feel like I have gotten to the point where, it has to make logical sense because I'm definitely a feeling person. I feel like I listen to my gut. And, that doesn't, but I have to break it down. So I feel like that's where I get a little bit of a lawyer perspective in me when I'm arguing, because I'm like, hey, let's just stick to the facts. Right. Because you've got emotions involved, and the emotions are speaking, not logic, not facts. Right. And so that's where it helps me organize. Because one of the attachment styles is disorganized. It's secure, disorganized, anxious, and avoidant.
Oh, I didn't even know about the other ones.
Are the four like four biggest ones.
I wonder what disorganized is. Like when your mind's all over the place?
An emotional hot mess, I think. Well, so to me,
so this is another thing when this guy was talking, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting, because he said it is the the thing that we don't problem solve with. Because if you're avoidant, you're going to withdraw, and then that's that. You're not solving anything. You withdrew.
Right.
You pulled away from the thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up eventually dealing with my family. Was like, I don't want to play the role you're having me play. I don't want to participate this way. I keep putting these boundaries of we're going to do X, and then to prove my boundary was firm, I would have to leave. And now we're leaving on a bad note and like all of that kind of stuff. So then it was like, it's easier not to be around these people because I don't know how to interact.
But is that at the point where it's avoidant? Maybe it started out as being avoidant, but then it was like, hey, I'm actually going to hold this boundary.
Yeah.
And just saying, I'm going to detach. So it is kind of, I mean.
But I wouldn't have called it, it's interesting because I wouldn't have called it avoidant. I would have called it fed up. Like, how many times am I going to do the thing I'm always doing? And one of the things that I learned from Ken, you always hear me talk about my therapist in college, Ken, who was amazing.
College Ken
therapist. He used to say, you can't change other people, which you can't. But you can change your reaction to other people, and you can change how you behave.
Yes.
So in that, what I was trying to do was, I don't want to play this part. I'm removing myself from the situation because I can't be the person I want to be in this situation.
Right.
So I'm just not going to be in the situation.
I don't think that's avoidant.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, avoidant is always like that. It's you never address the issue. So, I mean, here you are all these years later and you've dealt with it emotionally, physically at first saying, hey, here's a boundary. You've changed your behavior. So I do feel like.
Because part of his thing was you got to stop the cycles. You've got to do something different.
Yeah.
Because we think everything is linear. We think grief is linear. We think all these problems are linear,
Right.
but they're circles.
Right.
So
you have to be the pattern interrupt.
Yes.
You isn't all of us.
Yes. Yes.
You have to be,
Right. We have to be the pattern interrupt. And Jen kind of talked about this too, where you just touch the same thing, but because you're looking at it from a different perspective because you healed a little bit, but you do go back. There's circles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's where the pattern interrupt is the circle because you have a cycle,
Yeah.
right? And that is the piece that you're trying to break.
Right.
Like I'm trying to break this circle because once we do the circle, we're going to be in this loop again.
Yes.
And we're going to be in this continuous thing.
I always think about it looking at kind of like life, relationships, a lot of that stuff.
Grief.
Is like an infinity,
Mm-hmm.
an infinity symbol. And, at the middle, it's connected. And that's when that's when you're at your best. You're centered. And when you get outside, on the outside of that circle, you're further away from your core, your belief system, your
Values, your alignment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think about it and we're all going to be that way. If energy flows and all of that flows in that direction, there's going to be times where we are centered, grounded.
Yep.
We're at the core, we're aligned.
Yep.
And there's going to be times when we're outside of it. And it's finding, gosh, our whole life is about just finding tools to keep us in that center.
Or to not go out that arc so wide.
Yes.
Because I think.
Or know how to come back. When you said, I can change, you can't change people, but you can change you. You can change how you see things. You can change, you can set a boundary or you can you can be the pattern interrupt. So that pattern interrupt gets you back to center.
Mm-hmm.
But look at all the things that we pick up along the way, thinking that they're tools. We do, food, alcohol, bad relationships,
drugs,
everything, just bad habits that we think that it's coping mechanisms, but it's not.
Yeah. And even when I think about, I used to run 6 days a week, right?
Yes.
And someone said something and I'm like, well, I don't think the regular normal person runs 6 days a week. I'm probably working something out on these things, I don't know. But, and the truth of it was, and honestly, if I broke it down, it's easier for me to run 6 days a week than 3 because if I'm miserable and I'm doing it every day, my body's we're doing it every day versus having to overcome the inertia of taking a day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I like to, if I start working out, I almost want to do it every day. I can have a day of rest, but I have to be doing something every day.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, one day off turns into 12 days off.
Yeah.
And it's the self-sabotaging thing of like, well, I didn't work out yesterday and I didn't, like, and it turns into a whole thing.
Or like, oh, I have to work out tomorrow. Like it's kind of, you
Puts
find
resistance in there.
Yes. You find these excuses. So I agree with you. I'm that way too.
So,
I'd rather be
kind of
doing
joking
something.
about that. Like, but I don't even know how I got back into the running thing. Oh, but when you start doing the pattern interrupt, then you're not doing the same thing the same way that you did it. Now you can either find a new thing, like a new skill or a new tool, or you're breaking the it's almost like a fever. Like you're interrupting. It's a pattern interrupt or a circuit interrupt. And I remember distinctly like, wow, things are starting to look so different because to break the pattern, you have to, for me, I was having to remove myself from the situation. And I didn't know if I didn't feel, so like when I was thinking the guy's name was Adam Lane Smith, was the therapist who talked about attachment style, if you're interested in that at all. And again, I only listened to an hour of it. I don't know anything about it. Like I didn't take the quizzes.
Right.
I didn't
just listen.
I didn't even know that they were disorganized. I didn't.
I heard something that just piqued my curiosity.
Right.
I'll go down that rabbit hole. I'll
right,
play.
Right. So, but it is interesting. So, and another thing that I think of is, oh my God, great, another label.
Yeah.
Another disorder, another disease, another problem. Like, maybe not. Maybe not going to go. Again, that's why I wasn't taking the quiz. I don't want any more labels.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm anxious. Sometimes I'm avoidant. Maybe sometimes I'll be secure. Maybe sometimes I'll be
know
disorganized.
That about myself right now, right?
Maybe I'm all of them. A little.
Well, I think we all are a little of them, but I think there's probably one that we predominantly will go to.
Yes.
That we lean on. I would say.
Because one of the things I did notice that my grandmother specifically, she would rather have an argument because at least you're still engaged. Because the argument makes you engaged.
Versus
the silence.
Yeah. I resonate with that a little bit.
Yeah, I do too.
I want it to be, I'd rather have the argument than have the silent treatment. To me, because I would rather, I just want to get it all out, and I want to go back to happy. I want to go back to peace, and I feel like the longer it sits, like I don't.
But my grandmother was the queen of the silent treatment.
Oh, that's funny.
So we didn't talk to family members over a wedding for like 9 years, like where they sat at a wedding. We didn't speak to that family for like 9 years.
That's so crazy.
She didn't speak to my mother for over a year after my mother got married because my mother eloped and my grandmother was pissed. So she was the one who used that, but when you used it on her, she hated it. And I remember one of the things happening, and she said, and I don't know who taught you this, whatever. And I'm like, you. What are you talking about? You don't know who taught me. You taught me.
You remember Aunt Gina? You weren't speaking to her for 9 years because she sat on the wrong side of
I had to throw a tantrum.
She sat in the fourth row, not the sixth.
I had to give an ultimatum at my graduation that my godmother, Mary Beth, was coming or you're not coming. I would like you both to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to have a scene at my graduation.
Yeah.
So have a conversation beforehand and hash out whatever you need to hash out.
Right.
But why are you not speaking to each other?
It still doesn't make sense to me. I have aunts that don't speak to my mom because, well, I
think about estrangement is rampant.
Yeah.
Estrangement is a real thing.
It's just not even dealing with your issues, and I think that you just get upset with somebody. You actually don't even know why you're upset.
Well, you forget at some point. You're like, what are we mad about?
Right. And it's easier just to stay this way and
Or you like your life better when they're out of it.
True. I don't know. My aunt got mad at my mom for moving from Maryland to North Carolina. Now, it was like a 3-hour drive versus a 5-hour drive. So you're just adding 2 hours. But so she would come down and hang out and spend like long weekends and have a great time. But I'm like, Mom's like, I have 5 bedrooms and I'm 4 miles from the beach. Like,
Yeah, come hang out.
and Wilmington is such a beautiful area.
Yes.
Like, there's so much to do down there. You could go down to old Wilmington and, there's coffee shops, bakeries, great restaurants. Like, I literally think you could probably eat out probably 2 years in a row and not hit the same restaurant.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, we're in a deficit in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Restaurants.
Yeah, you
Or
have to
New
really go to
England.
Boston.
Yeah. We have chain restaurants,
We do have a ton of chains.
but but they're all the same.
Right.
You can get Mexican or Italian.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like in steak. You have all American steakhouses.
Right.
Like, I know.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I know I prefer eating at home because I'm making what I want to make.
Yeah.
And I'm good at it. And it's not, terribly. I derive some kind of tangible satisfaction in making something and enjoying it. Because I think so much of life is the monotony of the laundry's never done, cleaning's never
Yeah.
done, everything's never done, the filing's never done, the email's never done.
Right.
Like, I'll make you anxious. If you think you're not anxious right now, I'm going to make you anxious.
I'll remind you all the things in your life to be anxious about. Did you put the trash out?
Right. Like there's this perpetual motion of monotony. And at least it's like, oh, but I had my favorite, whatever. And you can get that from going out. But I grew up on takeout food. And because I grew up on takeout food, there was only so many things. So you alternated Chinese with giant roast beef, with pizza, with a
Yeah.
Mexican. And then you started back at the top of the rotation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, there's a lot of,
Every once in a while, I like the idea of not having to do the dishes, not having
not
to
have
think
clean
about
the
it.
counters.
But not even having to think about it. Shop for it, prepare for it, and cooking, it's timing. It's timing. It's like it's choreographing and making sure everything comes out warm
At
on
the same time.
Yes. Like when in the mornings when we do breakfast, pancakes I think are best served right as soon as they come off the griddle.
Yes.
But try to do that for 5 people and do, this one wants 3 eggs, this one wants 3 eggs, that one wants 2, that one wants 1, that one wants hollandaise sauce, this one doesn't want to do that, and keep the pancakes fresh.
Right.
There's just no way to do it. So a lot of times the way I do it is I'll make all the pancakes and I turn the temperature as low as it's like 170 is the lowest mine will go. And I heat it up, but it still still cooks them a little bit.
Yeah.
So even if you just make them a little bit,
But I would rather have a cold pancake than a cold egg.
Yes, for sure. So that's why I'm like, we'll do that, and then I have it all ready. So when the eggs come off, the oven's been off. So as I'm doing the plates, I'll put those in the oven too to keep
warm.
Keep the eggs warm. So it's cooled down enough that it's not going to cook the eggs anymore, but it will keep them warm. But man. So there's sometimes I like to just go to a restaurant and not have to think about that.
And then have crappy food at a restaurant.
And then you're like...
Because your breakfast, do you ever get like amazing breakfast places?
No. We don't really go out and if we do like the Red Arrow, just because it's basic. That place in Salem.
Cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
So I really like their breakfast, but I will end up getting breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
What else do I get there? No, I get mostly breakfast sandwiches, but they're fantastic.
And I think Press Cafe. I think that would be a good that's a good breakfast place.
But like when you get to hollandaise sauce and like a lumberjack.
Yeah.
Your bacon or sausage, your egg, your pancake or waffle, right? Something like that. It's hard to time that.
Yeah.
And then you add a whole restaurant full.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I laugh because they give you burnt toast. Like, what? Did you singe this in a fire?
Yeah.
Can you? And then you put it on a plate and went, this should be good. You're not like turn the toaster. So that's when I get into the whole thing with my mother. She tells the story that I was such a picky eater that she would make toast and I would say burnt because I was monosyllabic.
Yeah.
I'm so small, I don't have any other words. And I just go burnt and she would go, no. And she'd scrape the dark off the toast. And once we got older, I got older, and she got into a phobia where she couldn't even make herself a bagel in the toaster. Like, she was so traumatized by this child who
Burnt.
Everything was burnt.
Food critic.
Yeah, food critic.
A food critic at 3. Burnt.
Not eating it. Take it back.
Take
do
it
it
back.
again. Right?
Slide the plate away.
Not eating that. I'll just starve to death while you watch. While you look on.
I'm going to
just
sit here
starve
and die a slow death.
Die a slow death for you.
See,
Right?
this is me.
So
God, I feel like we were twins.
I know we were. We were telepathy across the miles. You don't eat that. I won't eat this. And so when we get a little older, she says, like, she's telling the story. I'm like, why didn't you just turn the darkness setting down?
Right.
Like, what, you're a genius. Like, you're a genius IQ. Why couldn't you just be like, why am I making it burnt and then trying to scrape off burnt with a knife? Why don't I just barely toast it?
Turn the timer down.
And she's like, it's not my problem. Like, I'm not making it. And so I always used to, because I used to have the because we didn't have the toaster that you put the 2 toast in. We had the toaster oven.
Yeah.
Because that was like how we made our pizza and everything else.
Yeah.
So, and I used to make perfectly toasted bagels, put cream cheese, put it back into a warm oven so the cheese would be melty.
Yeah.
And then once I started doing that, I was like, why don't you make bagels? She was like, because I don't make them as good as you. I'm like, because you don't take the extra time to do the extra step.
Yes. And actually, the reality is, because when you lightly toast it, it's in there for less, and then you spread it. So it's not even really, because it's probably the bagel is probably in there the same amount of time as it is for burnt.
Yes.
It's just having to put the cream cheese on. And I actually have liked, if I have bagels or English muffins, I like to cut them open and then just toast them on the pan.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I love them
butter
on the pan.
that, and then you just grill. It's almost grilled.
Yes.
I like that.
So I like my blueberry pancakes grilled. Love the cream cheese.
Well, actually, that's a good idea. Put a little butter on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to cut like a muffin in top, and
yeah,
butter
that's
it,
John's
and then
favorite. He likes grilled muffins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And then once you have a grilled muffin, you're like, I'm never eating any other.
Right.
When am I eating some cold,
Right. Dry.
muffin?
Right. It's like it's all stuck in your mouth.
It is a choking hazard. It's like
it is, but then it's like it's still like dry breadcrumbs stuck to the side of your cheeks.
that's
the
why
back
he
of
doesn't
your
like
throat.
scones. Like, and I don't mind a scone. I think a scone sometimes is less dry than a muffin.
We got a scone at
cinnamon scone. Ooh.
We had a cranberry orange scone that was really good.
I feel like you have to have tea with a scone. Like, you need some kind of hot liquid to get it off the roof of your mouth and put it back down the gullet.
We've made some at home. Kayla made some at home that were
Really?
really good. Yeah,
'Cause I love a scone.
She got a scone mix, and it wasn't dry at all.
Oh.
In that cone, and I like it when they do the crystallized, the big sugar crystals on top.
Demerara.
Yeah. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and I might not be pronouncing it right. There might be 2 URs in there that don't belong in there. Demerara sugar. I think it's Demerara sugar.
It might be. Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Yeah.
Talk
that's
about
really
self-sabotaging.
Oh, and yesterday I haven't had cookies in a while, and I'm like, oh, well, I had the 5 Guys. I might as well just have cookies. Because this day's done. This day is the day that I'm just, whatever I was craving that I have put on the back burner.
I'm going to indulge today.
Today's just the day that it's happening. Today's just the day.
And I think that you shouldn't go into it with guilt.
Well, and I felt really good about it because I was like, that was all. I got exactly what I wanted. I wanted really good hot French fries. I wanted really good hamburger. I had it. And then I wanted these very special Italian cookies that I like that are green, red, and white. And then they have the sprinkles on the outside.
Oh.
And they were really fresh.
It's like a shortbread cookie?
Almost.
Where'd you get them?
Market Basket has them.
You
know the ones I'm talking about.
Yes.
And they were fresh.
Yes.
They were like 4 days out on the, like they must have just delivered them. And so those were really fresh. And then I was like, you know what? I don't need another thing because I had everything my heart desired.
I think that's perfect. See,
and I can start again today. Today I had my chia seed pudding and I had my grapefruit and my thing. Like, today I had nutritious food. Yesterday there was not one. When I looked at my app, my score was 7 for the day. It's like, you need vegetables today. But that's great.
Everything that you didn't eat. Yeah. So even going back to like Sober October, when we started this thing about, drinking, in your diet, I think those are the two big things that people struggle with,
Yes.
diet, drinking.
And they can overlap with each other because
Yes.
it's very hard to be on a diet with drinking.
But even going on a diet and being like, oh, have the Five Guys, but don't be, there shouldn't be any guilt. I needed to indulge today. I very rarely feel like I eat fast food so infrequently. And when I do, I was like, I actually am craving some McDonald's French fries. And so I got them and I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly, I'm not going to feel guilty. Like, yeah, I do it so infrequently that it should be a treat, that you are rewarding yourself, loving on yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that with like 10 shots of tequila and be like, all right, do that,
was
tomorrow I'll be better.
Yeah. I was
No.
talking to a friend and she was like, oh, this person drinks a lot and like 18 beers and whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And it's funny how societally there's a lot of people being like 18 beers isn't a lot of beers over. So, I'm watching the game and do whatever. What's the problem with 18 beers? And if I said I ate 18 cupcakes,
Right.
you would be like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Like, don't you see how like
Yeah.
I had
Perspective.
10 shots of tequila. I had 10 pieces of cake. I had 10 pizzas. Like when you start doing,
Yeah.
if you start like overlapping those two, it puts it in a completely different light.
Yes.
I had 18 beers and a half thing of Jack Daniels. I had 18 cupcakes and then I had a whole wedding cake. You're listening to Lisa and Robin on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live as well as YouTube. We're going to go to the top of the hour, and then we will be back. Stay tuned.